I've mentioned before that I tend to approach life with a bit of momentum. I like to jump in. When a new challenge appears, my instinct is usually the same. Grab the gear, get moving, and figure things out along the way. I eat for fuel, not ceremony. I like progress, efficiency, forward motion. So when we stopped to try sandboarding on 90 Mile Beach in northern New Zealand, my brain immediately went into action mode. For those unfamiliar with sandboarding, it's basically like tobogganing, except instead of snow, you're launching yourself down massive sand dunes on a boogie board. Naturally, that sounded like a great idea. I grabbed a board, grabbed Jackson, who was 6 at the time, and we headed for one of the intermediate dunes. The first run was great. The second run was even better. Sand spraying, board sliding, lots of laughter. At this point, my inner efficiency expert made an appearance. "Let's try the biggest hill," I said. Because if something is fun, surely the biggest version of it must be even more fun. Jamie decided to join me for the next run. We climbed to the top, pointed the board downhill, and took off. Now, somewhere in my mind, I believed I understood how to control speed on sand. My strategy involved going feet first and digging my heels into the sand to slow down. Turns out that's not how physics works. The result was less controlled descent and more human sandblaster. By the time we reached the bottom, every possible facial opening, eyes, nose, mouth, was generously filled with sand. Jamie looked like she had just survived a minor desert storm. Jackson witnessed the whole thing from above and froze. The sandboarding experience had officially taken a turn for the worse. Although since we were in New Zealand, I'm not sure if the expression should be that things turned north. For the next 30 minutes, I was firmly in convincing and negotiation mode. "Come on, buddy, it'll be fun." Meanwhile, Jackson was firmly in what I interpreted as stubborn mode. Arms crossed, no movement, no interest. The session ended with him refusing to attempt the steep hill, being mad at me, and me leaving the beach feeling frustrated. But later that day, after a drive up to Cape Reinga and back, something interesting happened. I casually asked Jackson if he wanted to try sandboarding again. To my surprise, he said yes. Not only yes, but he wanted to do the steep run right away. As it turns out, he had wanted to go down the steep hill all along. He was just nervous. This time we climbed the dune together, launched ourselves down, and laughed the whole way. Then we moved back to one of the intermediate hills where we spent the next hour sliding, running, racing, and having a fantastic time. Looking back, the lesson was pretty clear. Bigger isn't always better. Sometimes new experiences need a little scaffolding, a chance to build confidence, time to watch, think, and decide. Had we taken the time to build up slowly the first time, or even just let Jackson observe for a bit longer, that first session might have been just as enjoyable as the second. It's been a tough lesson for me to learn. I have similar stories involving kneeboarding behind the boat, snorkeling in the ocean, and tackling the biggest slide at the Margaret Mahy Playground in Christchurch. And don't even get me started about learning to ride a bike, because sometimes the fastest way forward is a little slower than we think.